slow, live it up, watching time go. Planning moves, staying solid to this cheat code. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Live slow, live it up, watching time go. Making moves, staying solid to this cheat code. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. This how it is, the mission's Benjamins. And fuck the drama and the bullshit, we ain't little kids. My circle small, but my riders heart, they never quit. Get your money, keep it gangsta, solid, straight legit. Never switch like the real ones that die for this. It's fucked up, but this is truly how it is. I hope you're ready if you're picking this like full of sin. No turning back, I represent my vital to the end. Fuck the fakes and the snakes and everyone that hates. I'm not phased, I won't break, bitch, I'll never.
You are now watching M.O.D Entertainment.
And don't forget to check out the website to get your M.O.D gear. The link will be in the description. I just put up the beanies and gloves for those who want to purchase and help out the channel.
What's good, G-Life? This right here is California, home of beautiful weather, sandy beaches, the high life, Hollywood Hills, the Walk of Fame, all of that, you know what I mean? The glamorous life, you know, with this beautiful weather that we have. But not only that, but this is also gangbang capital, you know, home of gangbanging, with all kinds of neighborhoods all over the place, you know, from Northern California, you know, what's Oakland, San Francisco, Stockton, all of that, all the way down to Los Angeles, the Antelope Valley, the San Fernando Valley, San Diego, Orange County, the Inland Empire, you know, and everything down in the middle. You get what I mean? It is home to several sets, and not only that, but home to of the Surenos. You know what I mean? Not just in Southern California, Northern California, and not only in Northern California, Southern California, but actually all over the United States. You know what I mean? You have homeboys that are all over the place, from, you know, Oklahoma to Arizona to Texas to Chicago to New York to, you know, everything and everywhere. You know, they're just spread out like that. That's just the way it is. But just not here in the United States, because like I have always said, gangs exist all over the world. You get what I mean? This problem is a global problem, not just, you know, Americans or Latin Americans or none of that. But this gang is, this problem is universal throughout all over the place. And today we will be covering barrios, Sureno barrios to be exact, Sureno barrios that exist outside of the United States. So with no further ado, let's get into it. Now, of course, we shall be starting off with Mexico. Now, I'll eventually get to the series where I cover like all the neighborhoods in Mexico, because there's a lot of them. But just, I'm just going to be giving like the overall, of Sureños in Mexico, because in Mexico you have a lot of pandillas, a lot of gangs that are, that come and originated out of here, out of California. You have Florence, you have Vickystown, you have Clanton, you have Playboys, you have Wifens, you have everybody and their mother. You know what I mean? You have a lot of Sureños here in Mexico. From every big old, from Oaxaca to Jalisco to Michoacan, to DF to Tijuas. You have them all over the place. All over Mexico, spread out. Some that originated over here from California, from, these areas. And then you have some that actually started right there in Mexico, but just, roll with the program, roll with the homeboys, because obviously there is, Sureños, in their prisons and etc. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that they run the whole show, that they run the whole shebang and everything. That's not what this video is about. You know what I mean? I'm just stating that they're present there. I'm not saying that they run anything or nothing like that. I'm just saying that that's where they're at. You know what I mean? So before anybody gets their panties in a bunch, that's not what I'm here to, state. I'm just saying that that's where they're at. They're located there in Mexico, because Mexico is the second largest when it comes to, the amount of homeboys. Obviously, the United States being the first, and then Mexico being the second that has the largest amount of Sureños. Obviously, because it's so close, it's right there, and because of all the deportation that happens, homies get busted, and they deport them, and they get stuck over there, and that's how you get all these Sureños, over there in these locations, because obviously, whenever they get in contact with each other over there, they bump into each other, they keep it cool, because, somebody that understands them and everything. So, it's kind of like when you're incarcerated, you see, raza, homie, it's like, you already feel like, you have something in common with that person. Same right here, Like when you're outside of the United States, like Mexico, because obviously there's, you're being viewed as some type of way by everybody else. You get what I mean? You're not gonna get that same humble or love, you know what I mean? Compared to like when it's a homie. But yes, Mexico is home to a lot of these neighborhoods. You know what I mean? So many of them. I'll be covering them one by one. But yes, Mexico is home to the Sureños as well. Now the next right over is El Salvador. El Salvador is home to a lot of Sureño. Well, it's home to the Sureños, but not just the Sureños, because you have different gangs. Exactly like I said, what happens with Mexico is what happens in El Salvador, because you get homies that are obviously Salvadorian that belong to these gangs and they get deported. So those Sureños do band together over there, and they just align themselves, but they could be from different gangs and everything like that. But the main power in El Salvador is La Mara Salvatrucha, MS. They are the largest, the most dominant one there. Yes, you do have other gangs there, and you do have like 18 as well. But MS is the one that runs the shebang. You know what I mean? Because they are the largest. Their prisons are just filled with them. The streets are filled with them. They're in the thousands, bro. You know what I'm saying? And El Salvador is their home. That is where they come from. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna go into and yes, MSs are Sureños and stuff like that. They're Southsiders, MS-13, stuff like that. But I'm not going to go into, can you talk about the prison stuff, that people wanted me to discuss? No, I am not allowed to talk about that, nor would I be talking about that. Those are conversations not to be having on the internet. So I actually don't know what you guys are talking about. You get what I'm saying? But yes, MS, being the largest neighborhood right here, and they did originate it from over here from Los Angeles. Like I said, they all get deported over there. So they deport a bunch of individuals over there at once, right? And they just drop them off right there. Now you're getting a bunch of individuals that are together, that could just, be running havoc because they already have the numbers because they all got shipped over there together. So, it's like a big old ball. So like, what did you think was going to happen, They should have done them like in parts, not just, send them all together over there. Like, what do you think is going to happen if they all show up like that together? I mean, come on now. But they don't give a damn because it's no longer their problem, So it's pretty much how it goes down. But yes, and El Salvador is home to a lot of these guys, they're in the thousands over here. And they continue to be like that. But that's what's up in El Salvador with the MSers, another Sureño neighborhood, and not only just them, but like others, Southsiders. But yes, they are located right here in El Salvador as well. And next on over right here in Honduras, Honduras, you do have La Mara 18. This is their stronghold, their strong base. They run the shebang right here, while in El Salvador it was La Mara. Right here is the 18 streeters, you know what I mean? Mara 18, you know what I mean? Mara obviously being gang, 18th Street obviously, that's in itself, the street down here where they started at, because they originated over here out of the west side, right there on 18th Street, by the Rampart Division. So the same thing happened, you get all of these guys committing crimes, you ship them all over there at once because 18th Street is the most largest gang. We have already established that when we talked about the largest, neighborhood episode. So, right here, obviously being their stronghold, while and they do go at it with MS because MS are there as well, and so are other Sureños, you know what I mean, that get together, and just roll as Sud 13. But the one gang that this is their domain, their kingdom, is 18 streeters. And yes, I know people think that no, they're not Sureños. No, these guys are Sureños as well. Obviously they just don't write the 13 because 18th Street, the number patterning, it will look off, but that's why they choose not to write it. But sometimes you'll see it up like that. And it all originates from over here, the motherland, I guess you could say. And they just, when they get deported, that's what they run. But yes, they are in Honduras. Their prisons are filled with these guys. As you guys can see, these guys, ain't playing over here. Like, it definitely gets on and cracking. I know that sometimes people like view some of these images and stuff like that, and they think that it's all like in El Salvador or Mexico. No, but you have them in other places like here in Honduras. You know what I'm saying? They are, the ones that create like a majority of the problems, and the chaos over there, when they talk about criminal activity. Like I said, when your government just doesn't give a fuck and their law doesn't give a fuck, and these guys are just running mucks, I mean, that shit is crazy, you know what I'm saying? But yes, Honduras is another place where you can find the Southsiders. Not only in El Salvador and Honduras, but you also have them here in Guatemala. Guatemala is also another place that you have, the Surenos, the MSers, and the 18 Streeters, all three of them. Now, this one right here, their numbers are not as large as they are like in Mexico, Salvador, and Honduras, but you still have them nonetheless here. You know what I'm saying? That you still have them presence here, and still numbers in the thousands, just not as many. You know what I mean? So still a large presence as a whole. And Guatemala, being an area that also stuck in that South American, turmoil when it comes to their corrupted government and the economy being fucked up and shit like that. So you're gonna get criminal activity, criminal delinquents and mishaps, and that's just the way it is. Wherever you find poverty, you're gonna find these problems. You know what I mean? Because they are all caused by they're all psychological problems. You know what I'm saying? This area being no different. So this area, you do get all three groups. No one really has the upper hand more than the other when it comes to this area. But what we could establish is that they are here. They're definitely present, and you can see the chaos and. Hey, the reports don't lie. Like I said, man, it be going down right here in Guatemala. You know what I'm saying? Because you do also have in these areas, you do also have like homegrown gangs, that belong to those areas that don't get along with the homeboys, the cholos, pues. So it's a conflict between the cholos and the homegrown neighborhoods. So you do get conflict. So it's not just like peace and harmony amongst homeboys. You know what I mean? They do have conflicts with other groups, and that's just the way it is. But yes, the homies are also right here, located in Guatemala. And now as we make our way down to Armenia, Armenia is located over here in Asia. It is part of Asia. It's located, close to Turkey. Well, geographically it's located in Asia before I get people that, they're not Asians. But it's an area located over here by, Turkey, and their borders. It is the place that, where it was known to have the Armenian genocide by the Turkish government. Where you see them protesting and fighting for, the acknowledgement of that genocide, because the Turkish government refuses to take responsibility. But that's neither here nor there. But this is also home to a Sureno neighborhood, which is the barrio Armenian Power. Armenian Power is a homeboy neighborhood. Well, they're Armenians, a group of Armenians when they landed over here, when they migrated over here, to the United States, and landed in several spots, like the San Fernando Valley, east of Hollywood. They landed in, several locations. And, growing up was rough, you know what I'm saying? So, they banded together and formed their own gangs. Because it's just not, just this one gang, but several gangs. But this is the biggest one, you know what I mean? And the same thing with every other group, they do crimes, they get arrested, they get deported, you know what I mean? Same right here, with all these Armenians, they get deported over there, and then they just start, recruitment over there, because like I said, wherever you get poverty and problems, you're gonna get these gangs. That's just the way it is. And Armenian Power is roughly a big neighborhood. They're in the thousands. You know what I mean? Here in the United States, they're in the hundreds. But, in their homeland, they're a lot more larger. You know what I mean? Like I said, the recruitment and stuff like that, that actually means their land. That's just how it goes down. Armenian Power is a real neighborhood. And yes, they are homeboys. Yes, we go with the homeboys out here. I know a lot of solid, individuals out of Armenian Power. These guys ain't playing. These guys are definitely with business. For those who want to be, insulting Armenians, like, dog, you don't know what you're talking about. These got riders, dog. I'll definitely put it down. Ain't no suckers. RIP to my homie Wino. I know people solid, real one. Like I said, Guns there too. That's the boy. Like I said, Armenian Power has definitely got a lot of solid individuals that put it down for the whole boys. And yes, right here in Armenia, you could find, Armenian Power, the Surenos, the homeboys. And they're still holding it down right there. Now, another area you're able to find homeboys in is in Syria. Yes, the country of Syria. Syria is obviously located up in the Middle East. It's the area which you've probably seen on the news several times because of the whole ISIS incidents and everything like that. You know what I mean? Now, this area, like I said, homeboys are just spread out all over the place. And Syria is being no different. You know what I mean? The Middle East does have, Sureno neighborhoods in it. Not just in Syria, but in other locations. And like I said, it goes back to what I said. When homies get, deported, back to their home countries, and then they start recruitment, and then that's how it spreads. Syria be no different because, like I said, right here in the United States, homeboys literally take any race. You know what I mean? If they're down with the cause, and if they're growing up right here amongst us in the struggle, and if they the homie, then they the homie. It don't matter. They don't gotta be Mexican. They don't gotta be Hispanic. They don't gotta be, just Latino. The homeboy's a homeboy, regardless of his skin color. I've been saying that. And Syrian being no different. These homies get deported out there, and then they stuck over there. So, Syria's a place that has a lot of chaos in it. A lot of chaos because of the whole corruption with the government, the whole ISIS problem. There's just a whole lot of shit going down in Syria. You know what I mean? There's warfare in these villages like it ain't no thing, So these kids grow up very traumatic. Imagine just seeing nothing but gun battles all the damn time, anytime you go outside. So, of course, it's so easy to slip into the chaos, slip into the madness and become a part of the madness. Especially right here, it's very easy. And that's exactly how these neighborhoods grow to be, so large, but nonetheless still being homies, because that's how they originated as. They originated as Surenos, and they keep it like that, because in their homeland, back at home, they still have, their hierarchy and their shot callers that started their neighborhoods. So, they're not gonna, just rebel against that just because they're in a different country. Loyalty is loyalty, and that's something that we're attached to, and we hold honor in that. So that is why, because I'm pretty sure people are wondering, well, if they're in these different countries, why are they still, Sureños or whatever? But that's because of that. You know what I mean? The loyalty bonds that you still have with somebody. We break our loyalty for nobody. That's just how it is. But yeah, even homies right here in Syria, you're able to find these Sureno neighborhoods from different barrios. Right here, it's a whole collection of different gangs. So it's just not like one main, specific gang that, watches over everything. You have different gangs from AP to Grumpy Winos to Florence to 18 to MS to Diamond to all kinds of different barrios, and then they just hang out together because obviously, they're from the same area, over here, Killer Cali. Being homeboys, they can relate to each other. They build that chemistry, and bam, that's how it is. As a matter of fact, in different countries, rivalry, like if you're from a different rival barrio, that doesn't matter. What matters is, that they're all, Southerners, and they gotta watch out for each other because there is homegrown gangs that they do go at it with, that don't like these. They see them as frauds because they weren't born right in the motherland, because they're coming from California. They don't see them as, like real people from their land. So obviously those gangs and these gangs are gonna have tensions and beef for those matters, and that is how you get the clashes. But yeah, that's what's up with the homeboys in Syria. And now next we have the Philippines. The Philippines is another area that it has a lot of homeboys in it. Not just the Philippines, but throughout Asia, throughout Korea, Japan, China. And the Philippines. But the Philippines, throughout all of Asia, the Philippines has to be the place that has the most amount of homeboys in it, but just not, with homeboys, but because you have different California gangs that are over here. You have the Cribs, you have the Bloods, you have different sets, because of obviously, their Asian heritage, and then they get deported. Like I said, they do crimes out here, they get deported out there. So you have a whole mixture of different gangs. You get what I'm saying? From the, the Tiny Rascals, so the Asian boys, to, like I said, the Crips, the Bloods, and then you have the homeboys. And the largest one, because you do have several different homeboy sets out here, from Clanton, from 18, from MS, from Florencia, and different barrios like that. But the main one, the largest one of them all, is the barrio Temple Street. Temple Street obviously is a barrio over here from the United States. It started right there in Los Angeles on the west side of Temple Street. It started roughly around the 1915s. So already an old barrio, one of the original pioneer neighborhoods, you know what I'm saying? One of the original neighborhoods out in the west side of Los Angeles. The Temple Street, when it first started, it started off as a half, Hispanic gang and a half Asian gang, because you had a lot of Asians in that area. And, back then, they were both getting mistreated. The Latinos and the Asians were getting mistreated. So they banded together to form, kind of like a hybrid gang, and the hybrid gang was known as Temple Street. They just separated themselves as clicas, you know what I mean? Where you had the little locals, and then you had the Pino locals, and which is the clica that we have right here, the Pino locals, obviously for, Filipino. So you get the Pino locals. And you have several other clicas, but that's like the main largest one. You get what I'm saying? Because Temple has so many different cliques. They have like 40 different cliques. So they got a lot of clicas because it is that large. Temple's, a very large gang that's within the thousands. And right here in the Philippines, they are in the thousands, at least from what I was told from Homeboy. You get what I'm saying? Now, Temple Street is just, you could find them spread out throughout the Philippines, throughout, Asia, like I said. They have gatherings and stuff like that. And they continue to be here. And yes, they are, Temple is obviously a Sureno gang, you know what I mean? They're homeboys. You see it written up like that, Temple Street, 13. You get what I mean? Yeah, Philippines is also in the mix. When I talk about people think that Asians are weak and stuff like that, like, people don't know what they're talking about. Like come out here and tell these vatos that they ain't about the business, my boy. You're gonna get your head chopped off and your body, they're gonna burn your body and shit. These guys ain't playing. You know what I mean? You think another man's gonna just let you come in and insult him and he's just gonna stand there and not do nothing about it? Stop watching TV and stop watching movies. That is not how the real world works. In the real world, if you run up to another, man who's about his business and you try to talk shit to him, my boy, that man is not gonna let himself. Regardless if he's whatever race he is, they're gonna handle business, especially if they from the streets. If they from the streets, my boy, you're getting buried, regardless. Doesn't matter where in the world it is. These guys, grew up screw-ups and they finna take no shit from nobody. But yes, right here and also in Asia, in the Philippines, you're able to find the homeboys right here. Like I said, the homies are just spread out through all over the place. You can find homeboys. That's just how it is. It's crazy, man. It gets chaotic. With all the chaos, it's gonna breed the madness. With all this poverty and all these governments fighting and stuff like that, it's creating chaos for its citizens, and that citizens being raised and seeing the madness is gonna create this madre and destruction that you see all over the world. That's just how it is. The homies do exist all over the damn place. You can find Surenos. I'm not exaggerating, but that's just the way it is. But that's what's up with the temples right here and everybody else, that be holding it down.
Thank you for watching M.O.D Entertainment. Make sure you